Hi, Issa.
Hi, Kestrel.
Welcome back.
Good to see you again.
You too. This is fun.
We're having each other again.
Overnight, it occurred to me that this has been a really hard week for Issa. And we can relate it back to Radio Taboo because it's all kind of related. And again, is the fuel for why Issa created Radio Taboo. But I thought that it was a good time to give him the space to be able to talk about what it was like for him to be imprisoned for freedom of expression, and he lost some dear people in France this week. So Issa, I wanted to ask you a little bit about that and how it's impacted your whole mission and just how it's impacted you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kestrel, for
You're
offering
welcome.
me this therapy.
It's
talking, yes. Yeah. And then I also want to start my talk by saying that in the country in which I came from, there is no a named therapist. There are no professional therapists. So the therapy is in the society.
Right.
Any problem you have, you talk to a family member, to a friend, you rely on people. That's why you get healed. So there is a less depression in the society, even though life is challenging. And also, people don't commit suicide so often.
Oh, really?
Yes. So it's a society that people talk. It's a very oral culture. So that's a Bantu culture from Central Africa.
It's almost like that's what saves you.
Yeah, yes, almost, yes. Because I grew up with people who could not know how to read a book. So all the wisdom and then the education tool for the kids are inspired by nature. Gravity, time and space, and moving around, energy and everything. So that's the culture I came from, to understand my resilience. So I'll answer to your question by saying that it's been a very tough week because on the 6th of January 6th of January 2015, I got a call from my nephew telling me that my big sister's passed away. And that's been very difficult. And then the next day, the attack of the cartoonists at Charlie Hebdo, the paper in Paris, happened. So four of the cartoonists that was killed, Taboo, one of the famous one, Charbs, the editor-in-chief, he was cartoonist too, and T-News, and Wolanski, one of the dinosaurs of the cartoon in France. These are people who built up the old culture of 9 art. So that's what they called. 9 art is the comic art, cartoon, and graphic novel art. Well, I'm a professor, so I have a little bit of slides, some didactic tools out in there. So yes, so I heard that that one, and it's been a very intense beginning of 2015 for me because I live in exile, and these people are people who supported my case when I fled from Cameroon to France, and I arrived, and then they embraced me as a community of journalists and cartoonists to support my case. So that's one piece of people who put up like a foundation for who I am today. You know, it's one piece of those guys because they wrote article about everything, and then they say if we don't support your case, when we'll make it public, and you know.
And this is with Radio Taboo?
Yeah. No. This is also my case to
out.
be living legally, to be accepted and persecuted intellectual in France. Because it's a privileged position to have. Not label, but position.
How did they find you?
We know each other from reading our papers.
Okay.
You know, so I knew Charlie Hebdo when I was a cartoonist back in Cameroon.
Okay.
And then we used also to send our own publications, so we corresponded.
I see.
Yes, because it's network for journalists, and we do the same thing.
Yes.
And then the cartoonist world is also very tiny. They know each other through their work. Even they never met physically, they know each other. So I'm actually committed to do some cartoon to support the killings. Like the attack in Paris, I have a few ideas that I will find time from today to tomorrow to sketch something in honor of my colleagues because we have to support each other. So it's been very difficult. And moving to Radio Taboo, it's a community radio that will serve over 1 million people in rainforest in Cameroon. So the region is called Mbam and Kim region. I am not the first person to start a community radio, but this community radio is important because the people who live in that area has been forgotten by the own government, by the elite who are sending companies there to cut trees, and also by local leaders who are being corrupt by the regime in place, so they not allow voice to people. And I'm not saying this thing because I am someone who live in the West and then observe that.
Right.
I grew up there, and I walked to school, and that you understand the work I do now. Just open a parenthesis here, is that when I was the age of, I think 7, 8 or 9, there was a disease in the village, like Ebola that we have now, but it wasn't Ebola, it was something else like cholera. So I saw a body being taken to cemetery 7 or 9 per day.
Oh.
So when your children growing up seeing that, and also that's the time period in your life where you're building up the memory of who you're going to be when you grow up. So that's what carried me to do the work I'm doing now. Because people tell me, like, you don't have that much money in the bank. Why do you need to raise a lot of money to go and give it away instead of saving some for yourself? Even in the country, people tell me that. I say, well...
Even in Cameroon?
Yes. Most of it
really?
in Cameroon. Most of the time in Cameroon. Because people in Cameroon don't understand the process of raising funds.
Right.
And bringing projects. They just think that I might have a dollar tree by my house and then collect the dollar from the tree and fly myself to Cameroon. Or I know rich people, I can just go ask money for, you know what I mean?
So they think it's easy.
Yeah, they don't know that I read grants and then apply for funding, and I have sometimes be called to be interviewed or go defend the project, or put up an event and send flyers and mailing lists to people, mail it to my mailing list, so people can show up at the event and make contribution. I can go and serve the project and then send the information back to the public and tell them this is what we have done with the money. So they have no clue of that process. They just think that I'm a guy who live in a rich country and I know rich people and then just get money from them.
From them from that?
That's what they think, yeah. Most of people think. Even people who are educated, they do think. They don't have no clue. And then it's very good to know that because when I show up, it's a country that was colonized by French. So people, they carry white people on their back. And then white people act like they have a lot of money. So once one person, white people show up, they just think that's a bunch of rich people. They don't know there is a poor white people. So they have no clue. So by seeing all my friends from the West coming to visit me in the village where there are no electricity, no running water, they just think that I might also be talking to the White House. And I don't yeah. So I think that's the power to be able to know and not to know. So I'm in transition. I'm a bridge between that world and then this world. So I waved. So that's what. And then living in America is a very important place to be as an African. So I use that influence, I use that capacity to make that transformation. So this is how my work has been. So going back to Radio Taboo, Radio Taboo will serve in 8 languages because in the region, people are not don't have their own community radio. So they only listen to news from other areas like in France or in Nigeria. So it's long distance radio. They don't have FM for their own community.
Oh, okay.
So that's
they
what
do have some radios.
They do listen to some radio, but just to have a presence next to them. Because you also have to understand Africa is that radio is the second thing people buy after they buy this tool to work in a farm.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's the second thing they buy. So
to be connected to the world.
To have a presence because it's very oral culture.
Yes.
And then the reason why we're using radio is because the region is very isolated. There's no bridge to go. There is no electricity and no running water in the region. So my board members and I thought that the voice can travel. Meaning that, if you can deliver a paper by putting gas and take your energy and take time to go in a dead road in the forest and deliver a paper village to village, you can just broadcast a radio so the voice can travel and let people know, inform them about what's going on in their own community, and they can hear themselves in their own radio. That's what matters because it's giving them voice, because the radio will be trained, the villages will be trained by professional radio people in the city that we take in the rural area to train their own people.
Oh, I didn't know about that piece.
Yeah, so they can do the work for themselves. Because if we come from the West to do it for them, it has a name. It's called colonization.
Right.
That's what we don't want to do.
I was going to say,
Yes.
do you call that occupying?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah, it's a colonization, meaning we come with knowledge and power of money and power of all these tools and tell people what to do, and it will never sustainable because we impose it to them.
Right.
So
their history tells them.
yeah,
Don't
for 13
trust
years
us.
now, my organization, Hope International for Tika people, have 94 members, board members, based in the villages, in 30 villages, and about 20,000 people. And then 6 board members are in the city. Then they have computers, they have recording items, they have cameras. They send out information. That's why they have education.
Beautiful.
So they make that link between the urban area and then the rural area where the radio is. So before we do any project, we do something that they call community mapping. It's the ID of the community. How many people we served? What are the challenges? What did they need? And then after that, we did need assessments, meaning that the service that they want to have is always come from them. There are people who pointing and say, we need this. We have this precious challenge because when we have family in the city, we can't call them because we don't have a cell phone signal. So in 2012, we did a Kickstarter campaign with another organization, U.S. organization called Issue TV, with my organization, HITIB. Then we raised $21,000 to go build a tower in the village. So the tower has been built now. It's a movie story. And then we had some Sea grant for National Geographic. And Kestrel, thank you very much for all your support as well on this project. So now we send information back and then a 35-minute movie to show all the donors and supporters what we have done with the money. So now we're in the process of raising more funds. So it's between...
It's like stage 2 now?
Yeah, stage 2 now. We're looking to raise funds between $100,000 to $200,000, depend how much funding we have, because we can have a medium-sized radio, small-sized radio, or bigger-sized radio. So, and then train the villages, and then also grow a solar panel project in the region, because that's our first challenge, to have a power in the village that will feed the transmitter and maintain the equipment, so we can run the radio maybe 4 hours a day to start. And then villagers can get trained and listen to their own voice and empower their own community. But what Radio Taboo will serve is issue about female rights, human rights, gay rights, children rights. Because there has been a crackdown on human rights in Cameroon. Because I did some work for Amnesty International to save gay prisoners, because homosexuality is illegal in Cameroon. You know, people confuse it with pedophilia.
Yes.
Yes, it's not very clear in their mind. So then they can mob attack the gays, you know, and there is a female mutilation for the girls in the northern part, not in my region. But by doing this radio, inspire many other community leaders in Cameroon to take actions. That's why my position is important as a global voice, African man living in the US, and not campaigning to run election, because I don't want to be a politician. My role is activist, and I want people to be happy. So my happiness depends on other people's happiness. Yes, Kestrel. So if you're not happy, I will be very sad, because I think you maybe because I believe in reincarnation, you could have been a family member in other dimension life.
You and I.
Yes, so that's why I love people, because you
yeah.
don't know who's hurting.
Yes.
Maybe you're hurting the soul that belonged to your family
Yes.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
So we have to love people. Yes. So to give you a little bit of background of what Radio Taboo is.
One of the questions I had as you were talking was about, so you have people coming in from the city to train local people. So, and one of the things that some people talk about here is the nature of the news in general, you know, and sometimes I love having friends from many places all over the globe, because if I hear something, I don't even watch the news regularly,
Right.
but when I hear something, that comes to my attention, I will call the people on the ground.
Of course.
And get the word. So I have this feeling like, is there a need to somehow protect the purity? How would one go about that? So you've got people that are being trained, yet those people have to have a certain level of consciousness, right? Because
Yes,
you wouldn't
they
want
do.
those people going on and saying,
Yeah.
don't talk to people with AIDS, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna have this big ripple effect of
Yes, because I work in the country of Cameroon. It's a country in which I know how government official operates.
Okay.
And I also know what the past and then contemporary issue of the African
Beautiful.
society is today.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So through history.
Yes. So Africa, to understand Africa, is divided in two parts. You have an urban area where it's a city where only 30 to 40%, depending on the country, of the infrastructures function. Like people have sustainable water, running water, they have electricity, they have internet, they have this way of living as a Westerner. In the city, it's only 40% that function. The rest is slum. People struggling.
In the city.
Yes, people struggling to get a meal. They woke up early in the morning. Some of them decided they are making a call or they're having a meal with the money. That's how the urban area is, the cities in Africa. Then you have the rural area, which is totally different. It's just a countryside with farm around, people living indigenous life, where they don't have a good healthcare, no good education, no running water, no all these things. But they have a healthy food. They're living a real life. They're well connected to the community. They support each other until something grave happened, like an accident. So they have to carry somebody on the back and walk to the first medical center. That's where I came from. That's how Africans divided in two parts. But what is great with extreme poverty is that, first of all, it's beautiful. Extreme poverty is beautiful because it makes you resilient. It makes you very creative. It makes you very, very ambitious. Like the person I am.
Yes.
There is nothing that I can start and tell you it won't work. No. I gather all my energy and put faith in it, put the amount of energy I want, and then the project will be successful.
Right.
That's my philosophy.
Without doubt. Yeah.
With the idea of what we were talking yesterday, that I was raised in the philosophy that in life there are no mistake and there are no failure. If it doesn't work, it will take time, or you do it again and you go through. So that's my philosophy. That's how extreme poverty is beautiful. What is not beautiful, what is ugly, is misery. And then I'll explain misery by saying that misery is when you have all the tools to improve your own life, to move on, to be successful, and all those tools are just on your feet. You can bend down and pick them up. That's why I call misery, because it's something that's available for you. You have all the power to make the change, and you cannot act because you have all the tools. So that's what they call me. That's what I call misery. Yes, but poverty is when you have nothing, but you have a faith,
right,
that I will go to that land and dig the land and put some seed in, and then when time comes, I will harvest something and survive and move on to the next level, and it will happen.
Right. So if you were to ask me which place I'd rather live in those two Africas,
yes,
you know which one I'd say.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So that's what poverty is. It's making you very, very creative and very empowered. And to define the work I do, I am not because international development is a culture. And then in the culture, there is a field. There is like a disciplines.
Oh.
What I do in international development is not humanitarian. I do community empowerment. Meaning that I came with tools and train people for them to move on to the next level. Humanitarian is when you can farm, you are in a refugee camp, you have to stay on the line with a bowl to have a rice that you will cook for the next day. But where in the area where I came from, where I work, people have a land, they farm, they can't just grow the crops. They don't know it's possible for them to move in the next level, improve the life of the children, make sure the children be educated, and then come back to support the community. So that's what I'm trying to do, get the condition of people who are standing to start making steps further.
So what's really interesting, Issa, is so if you look at the city in Africa, the cities where 40% are really struggling, and back to
60% are struggling and 40%
are making it.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
because they're keeping also the funding, they don't have a policy of providing social services because corruption is very high. The level of corruption is high. Right. Corruption is newer in nature. We even have it in the West, but it's already institutionalized, so we don't see it. It's not like raw. Yeah. But in Africa, you see it in the street. You know, you smell the money. Exactly. You see the money. The money is talking to you and it's shouting. You know, so that's corruption. You see it is real. It's also anywhere where humans are because it's part of our nature.
Okay, so here, this might sound like a strange question. I think this was maybe a year or two ago that there was some announcement that whoever they is, we found this tribe in South America that has never been known to exist.
Right.
And I think it ended up being a hoax. But I'm not exactly sure, but it was like this tribe exists and we never knew they were there and they never knew the existence of anything else. And they lived peacefully and beautifully. And I remember thinking, okay, so in the spirit of advancement, right? Like, they probably have it down better than the closest city in terms of consciousness. So I guess my question is, and the beautiful possibility is being able to bring radio information, but bring in information that's a little more pure.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yes.
So, because I think the last thing you'd want to do is make people just more of these kind of material.
Yeah,
people.
more connected. And, well, what I would tell you is that the reason why the radio can have some risk, because there's going to be a jealousy. And like in my own community, the elite who are part of my tribe, who are very caught up in the government, would like to harm me down because they think I'm doing their job just because they're jealous. But the line had been defined for 12 years that Issa is not campaigning. Issa really want to improve the life of the community. And then the indigenous chief agree in some movie that have been made that I am not interested in occupying any office. What I want to do.
So as long as they know that,
yes,
they're not going to see you as a risk.
Even knowing that, they have this nature of just dealing with power. What interests them is gain power, because some people in life don't want to be living peacefully. Their happiness is dominate other people. That's the goals.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yes.
So do you think that part of the jealousy is that they're threatened to have an educated populace?
That's the fear of all systems.
Yes.
Because they don't want change.
Right. Okay.
Because
they got it wrapped up.
Yes. I was telling you in our debate yesterday that I did not create gravity, time and space and community empowerment. It's just around us and highlighting it for people. You know what I mean? Like, intellectual did not create anything new.
Right.
It's already there.
Right. In fact, they probably,
we
just
go and study things and expose it to the world.
Right.
And then up to people who want to use it there. You know what I mean? So all systems don't want people to be educated because it will be less power for them.
Right.
And what their own goal is to control people. So when people are educated, they don't like that because they want to be in a very higher position and look other people down.
So you're seen as a threat over there by some still?
Yes.
Still?
Which is insecurity for them. It's a lack of insecurity because even in the entire country of Cameroon, the government official and then the lawmaker, the politician are telling people, if we are in a position if we are your leaders, it's because God chose us to do that. So your brain can receive education. That's why. That's where I came with Radio Taboo and said it's crap. This is a tool for you to grow your brain. Okay, because if you don't want other people to evolve, it means you're insecure. You're not sure about who you are, so you have to define your identity. Yeah.
Right. So I'm better than these people who serve me.
Yes.
They just serve me, or they get in my way, or whatever. But like I'm over.
That's the only thing you can rely on. But they don't think long, because when you do that, Kestrel. It's not a culture. It's a mentality.
Tell me more.
Well, mentality is something that's not sustainable because if you educate your children that way and then you lie to them, one day they will discover the truth. Then they will challenge you in your own family. That's what happened with my family. My father always told me, don't play soccer because the non-believer chop the head of believers. That's how they start playing soccer. Don't draw a person because when God drew the first human beings, that's how he did. To create human, God drew the first human beings and then turned the person into sculpture and then give the person a break. Then the person were animated, so we become human. And then we multiply, become like, we are now over 7 billion on the planet. So when you do that in the memory of Islam, you challenge God. You're not supposed to do that, my son. That's what my father always told me when I was a kid. But when I accessed education and I studied the Bible, I studied the Quran and the Bible also because I have 3 religions, right? I discovered that that's lie. So my father wasn't credible on the face of before me. He wasn't credible at all.
And you knew somehow at a little age.
Yeah. So if you lie to your children, if you tell your children that women, the blacks, the gays are not less than human, they're doing something horrible. If it's not true, whether you know or not, one day your children will be confronted to the truth, and then you're probably going to hate you. I have no guarantee how that human beings are very complex, or it will not give you any credibility. So tell the truth to your children.
Right.
Don't censor them from reading certain books.
Right.
Like I see to the U.S. that James Baldwin have been banned in certain school. Yeah, in Texas. I read the article. I'll send it to you.
Oh my goodness.
So this is some of the things that make people insecure, and it can be a culture. It's also a mentality.
So you see it in Cameroon. And you also
see it here. Yes, I see. Yes. It's a human beings thing. It's not just something belong together. It's just different. It's been shifted. Like sexism still here. Racism is here. Homophobia is here. The only thing that we should see is being shifted. You know what I mean? Women can go voting to go vote today, but there are less population on power.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and then,
like the women's liberation thing was like, okay, you can wear pants, you can go to work. Yeah. It's like, and we're
but you don't get good salary.
Right.
Yes, today.
So we're like, oh, goody, we get to be equal, but then do all those other things that women do. Yeah. And do that. Yeah. And you can smoke too. That was a big thing.
Yeah. And then black people don't get lunch and hang in the tree today, but the biggest population in prisons. Yes. Or the ones that get killed by the police. That's a different kind of racism. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The gay is the same thing. We can allow them to get married, but we look them down like they're dealing with evil in bed. There are no difference with what African thinks. That Africans say in the day life because life there is very raw, but here we have it and we don't take it out. You know what I mean? What the heck, So I live in between these two cultures, and then that's my approach to see human. But I still have a lot of hope. Because change always going to happen. You know what I mean? Like the thing that we are worried about, or that's happening now, because we have this civilization have more knowledge than any other civilization on Earth, but we still don't have life improvement. What I hear from the global news is bombing this one and bombing that one, and then there is international tribunal all over the world to judge certain crimes, but the people who are being judged in the criminal or the system are always system from developing world. So it doesn't mean that the West doesn't do anything bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Guns. How can people sell guns to make money, to make profit? Guns that kill our children in school. What kind of world do we live in? You know what I mean?
I would say to that it's not the guns that are the problem, it's the consciousness of the people that own the guns.
Of course.
So anything can be a tool.
Of course, yeah.
You can hurt people way worse,
Yeah, that's why I don't blame computer.
We got to deal with the root.
Right.
Right, the root.
But the system are made not to make people smart.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like
not to critically think. They don't teach us how to critically
think. Not even critically think. Take action for themselves. Like critically think is the farther one. Because when you're already thinking critically, you're already kind of the leader. You can empower people.
Right.
Let's say people can only take step for themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like go shop for things that matters or
Right.
where it matters without and know what they're buying. That's why I'm called misery, because if you educate people just to consume something that will hurt them, so they can go again pay to get treatment because you want them to depend on you, like the computers, for example.
You know that, yeah.
Of course, we know that.
Yeah.
You know, like there is this computer business where they sell computers, they sell program, and then they sell virus, then they sell antivirus.
Yes.
You have to buy everything from them.
Right.
So they produce all these things, and you have to buy it from them.
Right.
Then in the computer world, there is a different approach. Some of them are created open sources. You want to work with software, you develop it in the way that you want.
Right.
It's a struggle in there.
I know.
Okay,
You have
and
to
some of computer don't even they ignore virus. So I understand all these things, right? Let's talk about food. You go and buy seed from Monsanto, and then you plant the seed. If you take the seed and replant it again, as indigenous people do, it doesn't grow. They want you to go back every year to buy it from them. They want to keep you dependent.
Right.
Instead
And
of being autonomous.
Yeah. They developed like this weed, Monsanto did, that is only killable. It'll destroy the crops, but it's only killable if you buy Monsanto's pesticide. So they made a problem, a reaction, and a solution that all profited them.
We can't let it happen.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
And also, I want to tell you that, humans don't really think. If they do think, they'll realize that what they're doing, it won't take them farther.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you look at the universe, the Earth is just like a dot, a piece of corn, even tinier in the universe. Right. That's what we represent in the entire universe. Then imagine this space where we are working on, this table what we are in now. How big is this table? Can you tell me how big is the table?
I'd say 10 feet by 8 feet.
Okay, so compare the space of this computer close like this on this table. This space, this computer, the space of this computer on this table, that's how far humans have gone in the universe. So the rest of this we don't know.
Yes, I understand.
You know what I mean? So but how about if there are another type of life further and more developed than us, that's looking for us, and we don't share peace on earth? If those guys find us, we won't be in peace. We're in trouble.
Right.
So we have to start sharing love right here.
Right. One person at a time.
Yes, we have to share. We have to start sharing love right here, because I'm not making it up. I am dealing really with people who are farming or going to their farm with polio. I deal with extreme poverty all the time, and I can tell you, Kestrel, I'm not afraid of it because it's part of me. How could you just ignore your childhood or part of who you are? It's not possible.
So you honor it.
Yeah, I even love it because
yes.
I go there every summer for 3 months and just stay with the people and reconnect to my childhood memory, and also see how much I can improve by just bringing my friends. Because for me, it's doing this trip is a philosophy, and then also has been a gift for me to live another 18 years after I left the prison, and then the trauma of torture. So every morning I have this ritual, standing in front of the mirror when I leave my bed, or wherever I was sleeping last night, the couch of my friend when I travel, or this mattress. The first thing I do, I go to the mirror and look at myself. That's the ritual, the commitment to myself, and tell myself, you are very lucky, man. Yes, because when I went to that prison, I didn't know I was leave the prison alive. But my mother knew I will come back alive.
Yeah.
That's what the village says. She's a witch.
I remember that story you told me. She's a witch?
Yes,
she's my son's fine. He'll be back.
Yeah, he will be back.
Yes.
And I'm not even visiting him in prison.
Oh, I remember that story. Yes.
So my mother kind of, I don't know in which miracle she knew that
which dimension she
I would survive from the prison, but she knew, and then we're back.
I was once told, I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, but I was once told by someone who I very respect highly, and I think I might have mentioned it, but that she said, don't worry to have to believe in this like a religion. I'm just going to put it out there because some people do, in fact, believe this way, and it is that, so there's like you, me, all of us that are here now, which is a miracle when you think about the odds of your actual life actually happening and then being born and then surviving and then getting this far.
Right.
I mean, you and I sitting here are just like miraculous beings of God when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that because I have a radio interview. I really believe each minute of my life is a gift.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. I don't want to waste it.
So
some days I do mistake and then I make a wrong decision. That's part of learning. I just put it in the back of experience and then move on.
You're not hard on yourself.
No, I'm not.
Well, so this
and I also think I am a very beautiful person. I like to appreciate myself. I love myself, you know. So that's the first way of honoring others is honor yourself first. Because I tell this to the kids, like if you don't love yourself or what you do, nobody will love you back.
If I could have heard that message when I was a child, just that one time.
Yeah.
You know, so that it's amazing with kids how much that one
I tell them, if you don't respect yourself, nobody will respect you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I have this process in art that I created this teaching philosophy where I tell them in art, in life, first of all, in life is duality. You have a day, you have night. You have up, you have down. You have the moon, you have the sun. You have the earth, you have the sky. You have today, you have tomorrow. Okay, that's what you're showing then. So in art, you have the picture, you have the result, meaning the picture that you're trying to represent, whatever image or abstract representation you want to do. And then you have the process, the feeling you have when you make art.
The experience.
The experience. Are you having fun working with these colors on this piece of paper? Are you having fun without avoid the way you're going to look, but just have fun mixing these colors? Are you happy? That's art. Forget how you're going to look. That's art. It's your feeling. It's something you don't see, but
it comes through you.
Yes, but it's building your all confidence, your all capacity for you to be happy. Because what matters is make you happy. Then I tell them, if you have a very beautiful image that everybody agree that this is a very beautiful image, then the artist walking and then have to talk about the work, and then he say, "Oh my God, when I painted this picture, they beat me up. I was crying doing that." Even though the image look beautiful, it's still going to be a traumatizing story. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So that's how life is.
Right.
You have to make yourself happy, and then when you're seeking for something, you go around and keep talking to people. You have a good reaction to what you're seeking for, and then somebody say, "Oh, go away! I don't want to listen to you. Get out of here." You take that experience as part of your learning. As you're going around seeking and searching, that's part of your story already. When people go to writing a workshop, they sit there and say, "I don't know what I'm going to write." Of course you know. How do you get here? Just write how you woke up in the morning and what you did and how you got here. It's something that people want to listen.
Right.
There's always going to be something.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, Kestrel, if you ask me what I need in life, the thing that I want to accomplish in this life, I need another extra life like this one to fill it up. But
there's not much time to do all the things
I don't
that
have
are
that
burning.
much time.
I know that feeling.
But listen to this.
Yeah.
When I was a young man, for weeks and for months, I can just sit by the door and see the sun rising up and go to sleep. Raising up because I have nothing to do. Then one day, everything came together and I got very busy.
Was it
saving lives?
Right. So,
yes.
and I'm assuming that had to do with when it hiked up was when you got arrested.
Yes.
That was the big change.
Yes. And also, what I do today is not what I chose to do.
Right. I understand.
Yeah. I just find myself like. Anything I wanted to do in life, I find myself in the circle of art and social justice and oppression.
So let me get back to, I was saying something that I thought, it was told to me once, and it impacted me so deeply. I want to hear what you think about it. And also in terms of when you talk to the kids, I'd be curious to see what they think. So I was told maybe 10, 15 years ago, I was asked by this very esteemed healer, why did you pick this time in history and this geographical location, and why did you pick the body that you were born into? Why did you pick the parents you picked?
Mm-hmm.
And so many people, I've asked that, and they'll laugh and they'll say, I'm adopted, man. I have nothing to do with my family. And like, they're freaks. I'm so different. And I would say, as was said to me, you picked a very ambitious task.
Right.
And that day when I learned that, and I had already been a therapist for years, right? But then I started using that in therapy, especially with kids, adolescents, they're so open.
Yeah.
And you just ask them, like, just, let's just make it up for a minute, just to play with a different way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes one right from victimhood to, oh, my hard life. It's what you're saying. My hard life is why and who I am.
Yeah.
The beauty of who I am. Why and how I discovered why I'm on the planet.
Right.
And that is a big part of consciousness.
Yes.
So I love that one question.
Mm-hmm.
If that one question could tip somebody into not having to argue about the, well, where'd you get that? Who said that? Where'd that theory come from? Never mind it. Just play with it, because theories are all theories. Beliefs are beliefs. Our heart is our heart.
Right.
And so I found that really helpful, and I think that it fits you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in my unbelief, if something doesn't eliminate my life, I kind of feel like it's a victory. It's a victory for me. So I gained something. I know what will happen. Then the next day I'm moving on to see what's next. You know what I mean? And I wave.
Versus being afraid and staying in your house and, oh my God, I just got screwed by somebody and I'm
Then we live, I get angry. It's not like I am this guy who always, no, when something happens to me, like if I'm not happy with something, I get pissed. It's good. It's important.
Yes, absolutely.
It's necessary for you to get pissed, to get reaction.
Otherwise you're not real.
Yeah, you're not real. That's right. So but I know that we live in a world that there are a lot of present of virtual, like seeing how we see. But also the same amount of energy, the same amount of capacity that we don't see. Because the real world that you see now is too crowded. There's mountain, building, beautiful billboard, and money, and all these beautiful technology items. And if you only believe in it, then your soul become less poor. What I'm doing part of my time, I just run into that spiritual world where there is prairies where I don't even have to own land. I just have to run in there and explore.
You're a citizen of the planet.
Yes, and fill up myself with an incredible energy that they call faith and confidence, and come back to the real world and put it in practice. So then some think that, oh my God, Issa have like a superpower because his mother's witch.
Oh, really? Yeah. So that's stuck. That witch, that label.
Well,
stuck.
it's the gift that was given to me when I was a child, but I did not even know that it was a gift. I was just the parents talking. Okay, I'm listening, because that's what children do. You shut up and listen. Then one day, it started making sense to me, because I have to go to jail. I have to leave the country. I have to go. There were one piece of art in France. Now I have this amount of artworks that I can control. Then I have a huge basement in Paris, a huge basement in New York.
Full of art.
Yeah, another one in Washington, D.C., and now in Pittsburgh, and I'm starting some more in Santa Fe. But when I was a child, they told me, the only thing we are giving to you is your life, and then your culture that you carry. That's only what you need. If you fall in a river, you swim hard to stay alive. You save those two things. You save your life, and then you save your culture, because you can create anything from that.
Wow.
You can't do anything if you're not alive.
Right.
So make sure you're alive.
Right.
And then make sure that what has been given to you when you was a child, education, culture, some tradition, you put them together and recreate anything, which is giving me the power to be who I want to be. You know, like in this country called the U.S., I really want to live here and live in New Mexico. If I'm not happy, I'll move to a different country tomorrow. That's something that was given to me.
So that whole story about that imagining, if you actually picked, so you're up in the clouds. I always picture it up in the clouds, and you're convincing a boardroom, I can go down again. You mentioned karma.
Right.
Like, I can go down again. If you give me a good mind,
right,
and you give me this and this, and okay, you can give me some really nasty circumstances I'm going to have to get out of. But in order to do so, I'm going to need this, this, this. So it's like this deal made, and they're like, okay, you think you can do it. So for you, you know, I think about the things that you have your culture and you were born.
Right.
Yet, you know, it makes me wonder that there's such a difference in people, even in experience. Somebody could have had your experience but not have been you. So you came in with a temperament. What I see is a will.
Right.
A will to do the work of the divine, you know, and you allow yourself to be human and get angry and whatever. Yet your point in the distance, and your point in the distance as close as your heart is there's a plan.
Yes.
And you're meeting it. Yeah. And I think that's
right. That's right. Because joy. You know, I even tell everyone that I'm like every human being, because I live my life the way I paint. You know what I mean?
No, tell more, because I think
because
I do.
Because people for me are like the color that I use on my canvas. That's how I live. Like if you really see my painting, you understand that like everybody who has received my painting know that this comes from love of humans, because I am not my first profession, like my first activity that my main focus is not art, it's people. That's the first thing I like to do, is the love of people, make people happy. I am very provocative. You know what I mean? Like that's why I went to jail, because I like to provoke people. I like them to move their mind. I like to paint my body.
See, that might be what you signed up to do, is what I'm saying.
Yes. So I like to paint my body and go out when people never see such a thing, and make them have a reaction. Because
shock them out of
because
their
if you are painting an art piece and hanging in the studio, they will never get there. So if you don't go to the art go to you. So that's what I like to make. And then they come to me and say, what are you trying to do? Are you in a ritual, or what are you trying to say, or how do you sell that, since you say you're an artist? So I like, because something had to happen, whether it's a connection, reaction, or somebody stop and say, whoa, this is the oddest thing I ever seen. That's what I want people to do. You know, I don't want to impress them, but I want them to stop and think. Whoever they are. I will tell you a story. I was one of the first person with Taslima Nasrim. Taslima Nasrim is a writer from Bangladesh who are gone to exile because she offended the fundamentalists in Bangladesh, and then she has 3 fatwas on her head. She and I meet 2 times in our lifetime. We met in Paris when I was giving a speech for the UN at the French Parliament.
Yes.
Then we met again, I believe in 2006 or 2007 at the Censorship Festival in Bilbao, in Spain.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I was performing in the public space, like open space, like in the plaza here. I was performing outside. So people stop just seeing me perform outside. And then there is this little boy who have booked an appointment with his parents going somewhere. Okay? So they stopped and I was painting. Okay? And then the little boy stopped in front of me and watching me paint. But there was time to go. The parents said, okay, Jose, come on, in Spanish. Like, come on, let's vámonos.
Right, vámonos.
He denied to go. He made the sitting there and cry because he didn't want to leave my performance. He didn't want to miss it. So it was...
But there was a little heartburn.
So I was performing. I was just doing my thing without even looking at it. But I knew that this little boy is enjoying the performance. He doesn't want to leave. So that's the kind of reaction I want to have, because he loved what he was seeing. me painting my body, stand in the canvas, start putting a sheet of music, putting the color while the musician is playing, and then you can see the image coming up. This boy didn't want to leave that session and go wherever he was going. That's what I want to create in the mind of people, to see this happen. Yeah. So that's my goal in life.
So it's a very similar goal that we share.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just how we go about
If
doing
you're not happy, I am not happy. I won't seek happiness, because I know somebody out there is just in a very uncomfortable or bad condition, where we have something easy, like sometimes we need just a phone call to save somebody's condition.
Right.
So we should make that effort.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if we could all behave that way out of the natural inclination of our being.
Yes. So what I do actually is what normal people do where I came from. But because I live in this world, then there is some disconnection.
Yes.
People kind of see me shinier, but it's the philosophy of where I came from.
So it's their story about you.
Yes.
That they...
Yeah. Like, for example, my mother, when I bring doctors in the village to give treatment to people, my mother is not the first to come and get the care. She's the last one. She let all the villagers go get shot or surgery, and then they can come and get her later and say, everybody's done.
I think
now
your
you
mother's
can
a
come.
witch.
My mother's witch. No, because in the culture, in the tribe where we were raised, even that you have done something great, you don't come out and beat your chest that this is me. You know what I mean? You don't say anything. Other people will say it for you. And if somebody is disrespectful, somebody will stood up and slap in the face.
Your mother didn't do
without
that.
you defending yourself.
Yeah, she didn't do that because she wanted to be all high and mighty.
No, she did. Yeah. She did that because she's saying, "I've given birth to this guy, and he is improving the life of the village." She put something together. So when the village recognized that, then that's a recognition for me. So I really don't want to show up first.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
So
she even show up to the doctor when everybody's going home. Just few people left, so she can show up.
So that's her contribution to kind of remain humble?
Yes, that's how we were raised.
Yeah.
Like you don't go around and say this is me and
what
that.
I know,
yeah,
and blah, blah, blah.
No.
Very different than here, right? Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's the world I came from. And then you're welcome. Everybody's welcome to the village.
I know.
Yeah.
You said that. And I always just say, I just don't want the shots. If I can get there without
well,
the
you
shots.
can get it in the country too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. You can.
Well, if there's a way that it can be found out, I know you will.
Sure.
Because
we can arrange some. There's always a solution.
Yeah. I love that. And
yeah, because in life, most of the time when we're seeking for something, the answer's there. It's always there for us. It's a duality, you know. It's like a disease with serum to treat the disease.
So do you think there are people like, let's just say you and I and a bunch of others, who kind of live on the perimeter? That's kind of how I call it. So like living life on the edge. Okay?
Other thing with people in my village, is that I'm also doing this project to prepare them for something. Because there are 3,000 people in my village. There was 20 more that amount of people. So my people survived from German colonization, British colonization, and French colonization.
The ones that remain.
Yes, including slavery around. So we are reduced to 10% of what we were, the population were.
How many today?
We're 3,000 now. We are more in only that village.
Right.
So people have been taking all over the land for slavery. So the story of my people and mine has been operations. So that's why I do social justice. There is a reading for it. So I'm doing this project to prepare them for a bigger risk, because there is a risk.
Okay, so tell me about that.
Bigger
risk.
There is a risk of people who are growing greed in the village, who are educated, coming back to send people to cut the land, to hurt the earth, to hurt the energy. And then cutting trees, it means that you reduce energy, that you reduce oxygen that we breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So I want the village to be educated, the young people today to be inspired, because I hear some of them already saying, I want to be like Issa when I grow up. And some children have been born in the village and then they give my name.
Oh.
So that's what's happening in my...
There's a lot of Issas in Cameroon these days.
Yeah, there are many Issa, which I'm not the father, just the name. There is.
Let him say publicly.
There is. No.
Oh,
there is, because
yeah.
that's also a sign of recognition that, you know, what Issa are given to us, this is how we can honor him.
What a beautiful
You know
thing.
what I mean? Yes.
Right.
So it's a place where I like to be in peace with myself
Mm-hmm.
and seize my mother still alive so I can go back. So I'm preparing them for that, to tell them what kind of action to take. Because yesterday we talked about how you get smarter when you compare your condition to other people's condition.
Yes.
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 So in life, there are 3 kind of people. Listen to me carefully.
Okay,
There are
I'm
3
listening.
kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to the goal of identity. There are people who are born in the good side of the river. And for them, there was going in the golden spoon in the mouth, their life will not change. That's they was chosen by providence, God, or whatever they believe in, to say, oh, I was born in this country or in this land and I have this privilege and that's how my life has been. I don't want to change it and that's how I am. And then there is people who was born and live in the wrong, challenging side of the river.
Mm-hmm.
And then those peoples are, they also think that that's how the destiny is, or that's what God made for them, or that's the karma they're paying.
Oh.
Then there is another third group of people who can leave from of the 2 different groups and say, that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
We have these much resources that we can share with others. They came from these 2 different sides. And then say we have to reduce the gap. For these people to get the goods. And even those people who are less privileged, we think that they have less privilege, also have something that's powerful to share, which is not palpable. You know what I mean?
It's not palpable in the way that the world is created now, which is about money.
Yes.
Right.
So this third group of people is you and I.
Yes.
Because we care about others.
The bridging.
You know what I mean? Yes, the bridging. Because we have seen that some people are even wasting what some people need.
Mm-hmm.
And then
without any knowledge.
Yes. So then there is a way here to make that trade. You know what I mean? Which is what I'm doing. You know, by bringing knowledge from the West, and those people from the West who follow me in that known, tiny, small place have a lot to learn about who they are. Because they are exposed to something that's different to them.
Yes.
And for example, I'll give you an example, but you know this already. You travel to Africa and then your car broke down. In less than an hour, they find a bed for you. People make a room for you to sleep, and then they give you dinner.
Yes.
And then the next morning you're free to go. You don't pay anything.
Right.
You have a smile. But what did they get? They get to know somebody who come from far away. They get to know somebody who come from different background and share something with you. They have a question.
Right.
They need that connection and make them proud. That's how you pay them, like you pay the hotel room. For them to share something with you. I'm really talking about you for something that's happening now and been happening for a long time.
See, Issa, I think we should bring the radio taboo from Cameroon to here. Really? Because and that's the part. The protection of the purity of and I love that you're going to train them to do it, because they're the ones that have some things to say that American ears should hear.
Right.
We with all our education that we have, and I agree, we have more access to knowledge, and in some ways we have less access to knowledge. Because the ways of your tribe, the ways of indigenous peoples, has been obliterated.
Right.
You know, things that used to be science, like alchemy and astronomy, are made to be like things that just woo-woo people talk about. But before the 400 years ago when they developed the scientific method, everything was science, looking at the sky and plotting the weather and knowing where the moon was, and how it related to you. So it's an interesting dynamic. So we've got all this technology, right? And it's developing faster than our spiritual ability is able to keep up with.
Right.
Your people have been kind of protected. It's an interesting...
I know that. I know.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yes.
So
but also the easy tool that they can use to make less people die.
Yes, correct. This is about life and death.
Or support their conditions. Because I don't know if many people experience 7 people dying a day. Right. Like for a week, taking bodies to bury a couple of times a day. Right. You know what I mean?
I can't think of one person I know in this country that has ever known that experience.
That's me.
Besides you.
So, then, something has to be improved here. Because we know what can make us prevent it from happening.
And so what you're talking about is that thing that you talked about, the little way you stir things up.
Yeah.
That's a little boing to people that are unconscious to become conscious.
Right.
That's what it is. That shift that can be made could be made someone who never considers it. Yeah. That's why I want to do interviews and hear stories and hear your voice.
Yeah. So there is also something that I bring to the West is pragmatism. You know what I mean? Well, I tell people in Africa, mostly those who rules the continent, I told them, each time you going to harm one of your citizens, you're making your country weaker. Probably you want to show your power, how much you can put somebody in jail, and come and say, I'm burning all this village down to show who has a power here. You are making your country weaker. That's the first thing you also understand.
So have you said that to the powers that be to their face?
Of course I said that.
You have?
I work for nobody. I work for myself.
Yeah, so what? I'm so curious as to what the reaction is.
They just sit and listen.
Really?
I tell them, in America, in France, in Germany, in Canada, in England, in all these countries, even part of Asia that was already colonized by some nation, it's hard for electricity to go off, like power off. It's difficult. Because they think that people deserve to be happy. Like if there is electricity and there's a budget to give electricity to 1 million people, you don't cut the budget and give it to half people because you want to build a goddamn house. You don't do that. Because if you improve the life of people, then you never die. Even if you passed away, you will never die. Your name will be there forever. And then that's how all function on earth. So I tell them, in the US where I live, it's difficult. I always have available internet because a lawyer can call me and say they want to kill me. And I'll go online overnight and find all the influential organizations and write to them and say, do you guys know that this is happening to one of your colleagues in Africa? And they will say, oh my God, we didn't know about this. How can this happen? What could we do? That's why I was able to manage with some colleagues with the embassy, some embassies in Cameroon, to send a protection for some lawyers who defend the gays so they can show up at the court with bodyguards so they can do their job because they're human rights defender and they cannot be vulnerable. So it only takes internet connection or texting. That's the tools.
It's powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just use those tools.
Exactly. So the tools
to
are not
improve
in
life.
themselves bad.
They're not bad. The humans are
it's just like
the ones that it's like the guns, the computer. There are no this computer
machine.
right here.
Right.
This computer right here is just an item.
Right.
You know, there's a website of my organization in here. There's a video showing the credibility of the work I do in Africa, right? But right now somebody's logging in to go to tourism to sleep with the children in somewhere in Asia. And we cannot blame computer for that.
But where are you in the stages of Radio Taboo? And where do you need to get to be?
Okay, so Radio Taboo, thank you very much for that question, Kestrel. So Radio Taboo right now have built a tower in the middle of the village, there is an erection in the sky.
Yes. It's a beautiful red one. Yes, I saw it in the movie.
150-foot erection of like a tower in the village. So that's been done about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I went last year to trying to provide cell phone signal to the villages.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little challenging because, the company were not reacting properly because there was no bridge to go. So that's one of the first things the villagers want to have is to be able to make a call.
So you need a cell tower.
I need a transmitter for cell phone signal. So
that's the next step.
Yeah, that's the next step before I get the big budget for the radio is between $100,000 to $2.
To actually get the
to get the villagers
running.
trained and grow solar panel projects and then start broadcasting the radio. So we also need, if somebody can donate a 4x4 truck, that would be great. Motorcycle can help. Anybody, this project is open project for anybody to serve any human beings and also serve themselves.
Yes.
Because when you go out there, it's not that only you providing some service to Africans, you connect with people. And everybody have taken once, they don't need me again because they make friends.
So
it's
is
a
this
culture
the reason
that
why you keep asking me to go?
Well, I keep asking you to go because you will be part of a tribe.
Yes.
And people here in Santa Fe or in the U.S. or in France have gone over there and have tribal names. Sophie and Jay that you know.
Yes.
Jenny, my first volunteer, has the name of the daughter of the chief. So he has a princess name.
Wow.
And every time when I show up, people ask for Jenny, because she helped the village. She's the person who helped me, who taught me how to write grants, how to use some language, how the culture function in the U.S. She told me one day, Issa, I know the culture in which you came from. You are not lazy and you're afraid to ask for money, but here, people don't know what's going on around the world, what's going on in the community. So you're given the opportunity to help.
Mm-hmm.
So you are there for to help them participate in your project. So you should ask them for money because they're happy to do it. That's how American culture is. So somebody from here actually that I have taken to introduce to my community, which is a good person. So that's why I want people to come, because the more people will come, the more work will be shared, the more happiness they will enjoy connecting with other human beings.
Yes.
Because for me, it doesn't matter how people look.
Right.
They have to be good people.
Right.
And serve others.
And you learn that from travel.
Yes.
In a visceral way.
Yeah. And also I want to tell people who never travel out of this country that you don't even have to go over there to know how people live in other parts of the world. They're right here. They're immigrants here. First, second, third generation. They're all here. Have an incredible cuisine. They are open businesses in the restaurant. And then maybe your children share some friendship with them. That's a way for you to know how people live in any part of the world. Right. That's how I did in France. To be able to come to the U.S., it was difficult for me as a young artist to buy an airline ticket and travel. But I traveled to people. I was in a program with people from the U.S., from China, from Japan, from Afghanistan, all these refugees from all the countries. I just sit down and talk with them how they live home. I share my African culture with them. I travel that way because I think each person is like a museum for me. I like to explore them. Yeah, I really do. I really do. It's a universe, like the education that you came from, how you're going to see my issue in life. Right. It's very interesting because I have no clue what was going on in your mind when you was my age. Right. So the way you're going to approach what I'm telling you or what solution you have for me, I want to hear it. And it's not a bullet.
Right.
We're just using words.
Right. It's not right or wrong. It's like I'm curious to hear my story go through your perception.
Yeah.
Then what you have to say about it.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
And then as long people have an agenda to make us hate each other, right? I don't think one culture be danger for another culture. It's not. I have a true religion. I speak about 5 languages. I write 2 of those languages. Yes. And then a calligrapher. There are no conflict in me. Even for me, it's the strength. The more language I know, the more knowledge I have, the more strength. Like the more confidence I'm gaining. Like, when I look at the map of the world, there is no country in which I can live.
So the more you learn, the more you travel, the more you learn the language,
the more stronger I am.
The stronger you are.
Yeah. I'm not strong that I can beat somebody up,
right,
or I can tell somebody you're nothing, I'm better than you. No. It's just a strength for me to be hopeful in life.
To be conscious.
Yeah, to be faithful to myself.
Yeah.
To empower other people. And to gain this position, I didn't fight for it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't struggle for it.
Didn't even really
I didn't ask for it. I just acted. And then people say, Issa, you're right here to help. I think your knowledge, your talent, whatever you have can help. You remember when Martin Luther King became a leader?
Yes.
There was this operation in the South, and then the blacks was very marginalized, and then they said, we're going to have a meeting in his church.
Right.
So he didn't know he was going to be a leader. They got him by surprise.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
Yes. And then this is the person who won a lot of awards for peace.
And got shot.
Yes. He was chosen by destiny to do that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So this is my way. That's how I live. And I think anybody can use those tools. Or I just want to say I'm a bridge.
Yes. I think it's the perfect way to
yes,
describe.
I'm a bridge, and then I have this radio project where anybody can jump in and have a place to go when they're overwhelmed by the overdeveloped world. When I'm overwhelmed in the West, I just go to the village. I'm lucky enough to have lived 18 years away, and then my mother's still alive when I come back. She's the one who gave me all the spirit and then the memory of the childhood I had that I cherish. So I'm very...
So it infuses
Yes. So today my struggle are other people's struggle. So if we can get together in this radio project and make it happen, I know it will happen. We don't have a deadline for like operation, but I also think that somebody can come up with knowledge or some funds, and we already have everybody's trained. We have people trained.
Oh, you do already?
We have people trained for us. Yeah, only thing we need is funding.
Beautiful.
Yes, that's what we need.
Right.
Also knowledge. Like, I think knowledge never stopped. So, you can't say you know enough that you can learn anymore. So I'm keep learning about people, about what's going on in the world, so I can use those tools to save some lives. You know what I mean?
And build bridges.
Yeah. And I don't want to be arrogant to say I'm going to change the old system. That's not my goal. My goal is to change my own world.
You're showing up.
Yeah. We have to make sure we do our part. When my part is done, I know that I've done my part and I can go. Mandela, he's done his part. This is an amazing guy who spent over 26 years in prison. When he became a president, he gave the vote to people. The vote was denied to them. In South Africa, there was apartheid.
Right.
After he done that, he can leave. People who are having a lot of power, raising war, is their part. It's their karma. You know what I mean? So I have to make sure I've done what is in my power to improve life and make more people happy. Then I can be called back to where I came from. That's what I want to do here. Yes. So what I tell people is to know themselves, be open to receive good energy, and he will come back to them. It's like investment. There is nothing that you have given that will not come back to you, whether it's good or bad. You know what I mean? So it's always going to come back to you.
It's cause and effect.
So I'm inviting everybody, right now, people are giving music. It's what they have. What the soul have produced. This music is going to make a lot of people happy. When people travel in the country with me in Cameroon, I take them to the university to talk to people who are hopeless. They're students, they're going to have degree, and then they will be having very bad jobs, even that they have a degree, because there is a corruption. So they want to make friends and hear about the story of people who are coming from far away. It's a country that I know. You know what I mean? So those people like to see people coming from the West and talk to them. Just talk to them. It's a therapy to talk. It doesn't hurt anybody. I don't know why I hear guns everywhere and bombing. We should be sitting around the table and talk.
Yeah. That's going to be our
next
next
Talk to the other human beings. Yeah.
That's gonna
Just
be
talk
fun.
to the other people to know where to learn. Because misunderstanding started when people don't talk.
Right.
You know
Or they
what I mean?
talk and they don't listen. There's a lot of talking.
Well, as long as something is happening, it's already great. You know what I mean? Even that they keep shouting to each other, it's all good. As long, because when you talk to me in a certain way that I don't like, it gives me a sense of what your mood is. Then it helps me how I can talk to you back or handle you better next time we meet. As long as we agree to sit
It's kind of like I
and
can
be
see
rude
you.
to each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessary to be rude to each other.
Right.
But as long as something is
Right.
happening, then you know my feelings.
Right. And at least you're
And
invested.
we can work on it.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
It might
peace-
not be yummy feeling, but at least I know you're invested enough to be disturbed by me.
Yes.
So let's keep going.
Yeah, racism, sexism, discrimination, homophobia, all these come because we don't see other people like us. And I have came to a conclusion that, you know, the reason why I say that everything has a solution is because, let's say one person is acting weird, or a group of people here in Santa Fe are acting very weird. If you go to the library and study human beings, some people was doing that 100 years ago somewhere else in the world. So humans don't create something kind of new. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what's funny about
Because
that?
the nature is there.
Right. But we forget. I mean, it's amazing.
It's because we
to
don't
me.
think.
We're not conscious.
We're not conscious.
If we were conscious, the Holocaust only happened like 40 years ago.
It can happen
insane.
again. Kestrel, it can
course.
happen again if we don't watch.
Of course. This is, but that
Everything can
amazes
happen
me.
again if we don't watch.
Yes. And watching means conscious.
So to finish
Yeah.
with the note, I'm going to say
Okay.
that we live in the US. Okay? What I want to tell people in this country is that we have some privilege. We have some basic rights. Just keep it and know what it is, and don't be a lazy mind. People who like to vote, if you vote, all voting is only a part, like a one section of your responsibility in the democracy process. There are other steps you have to take. Call your elected official, sign petition, be informed. Be informed not mean that you read a paper and then you say that's it. No, the same information is traded differently in different networks. You compare it and see where the truth is. Okay? And show up in a demonstration. Because in some countries, people show up and get arrested and then their life is being ruined. So you have that privilege here to take those actions.
Well, we're losing it fast.
Yeah. Do not just vote and have a bumper sticker on your car that I am progressive.
Right.
That's not enough.
Right.
Even voting for Obama is not enough. Obama can do the rest of the work for you. Obama is surrounded by advisors, people who are already influenced by lobbyists to make so the president's overwhelmed in his office. If you don't show up in front of the White House, nothing will happen. Those people who surround him want to see you showing up and say, Obama, keep your promise. That's how he's going to do it. Just don't vote and go home and have a bumper sticker on your car that I'm
This is
progressive.
hope.
It will
Right.
not help.
Right.
It will not help. So there is a certain step to take. Me, if I was Cameroonian citizen and see my local elected official spending money in the nightclub with prostitute or girls and then go talk to him, I'll be in trouble for 5 years. So how many people in this country called the US call the government officials? This is why the culture is messed up. This is why our rights are being taken away because we don't watch.
We don't watch. 'cause
We don't
we're not
watch.
conscious. We're just in our little
We
myopic
don't
thing, and
watch.
we don't know the truth.
There is simple
But,
there's simple step to take.
Yeah.
You know, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all this is just branding. It's called internet. We connect. Whether you're following somebody or you're friending him or you're linking him or you Google Plus him, they're all one thing to know is a connection. You connect to another human being that you can share something with him.
Right.
Forget
our
about,
existence.
I don't like Facebook, I am just
Right.
Twitter.
Right.
It's
right.
the same thing.
Right.
It's just frame that they put in your mind, labels
Yeah.
in our mind.
Yes.
People in France deal with gravity all the time. So people in the US, so people in Canada. It doesn't matter if you go and connect to other human beings. There are human beings on the same planet. That's tiny like my asshole. In the universe. You know what I mean? So it
The Earth is the asshole to the universe. Is that what you're trying to say?
It's very low.
Yeah.
The Earth is tiny.
Yes. Yes.
So we represent nothing. Who do we think we are? To make money by killing other human beings.
Right.
Because what would destroy human beings is 3 words. Ego.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you know what the ego says? Hey, do you know who I think I am?
You are nothing. You're going to die and then will be
Right.
buried or burned or become ashes.
Or
That's
you're
what
something.
you are.
Or you're something if you wake up
Of
and
course.
realize, I do not blame the world for my circumstances. The world has created me to be
Of course.
a warrior class, not in an ego way, but in
Of
a way
course.
that with the bearing the light, being a bridge, whatever you call it.
Sure. So, well,
yeah,
somebody like me, I don't care how I look.
yeah,
I don't care where I came from. I am a human being. I can go anywhere I want. And change people's life or learn from them. You know, make that connection. That's what matters to me.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
That's a
This is
reason to be
all-
alive.
This is all what I have to say today.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much, Kestrel.
so
Thank
much.
you.
And next
It's
time
so
we will
healing
get-
to talk to you.
Oh, I'm so glad.
It is. Every
And-
day is a gift.